I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. I didn't know then what I know now. A race is just a game. I didn't know then what I know now. A race is just a game. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. I didn't know then what I know now. I know now. This is just a game. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. Everywhere I'm the same. It don't get deeper. No again. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. You got to get deep in the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom of Africa. It don't get deeper. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. Everywhere I'm the same. It don't get deeper. No again. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. I used to feel like everywhere I'm the same. I didn't know then what I know now. A race is just a game. Check your speed, 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 check your speed. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. I didn't know then what I know now. A race is just a game. Yeah. I didn't know then what I know now. A race is just a game. Yeah. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. I didn't know then what I know now. I know now. This is just a game. Yeah. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. Everywhere on the same. It don't get deeper. No again. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom. You got to get deep in the bottom. Deep in the bottom. Can't get no deeper than the bottom of Africa. It don't get deeper. I used to feel like everywhere on the same. Everywhere on the same. It don't get deep.
Good evening. I'm Fiona Coffey, Associate Director for Programming and Performing Arts at Wesleyan University's Center for the Arts. It is a privilege to be co-hosting tonight's event with Wesleyan's Albritton Center and Dance Department. I am joined by my distinguished colleagues, Iddi Saaka and Katia Colcio. Iddi Saaka is a dancer, choreographer, and an assistant professor of dance. He teaches West African drumming and dance and believes in the power of dance to open doors, celebrate diversity, and question the status quo. Iddi will moderate tonight's event. Katia is director of the Albritton Center, which houses the Jewett Center for Community Partnerships, our service learning programs, and the Patricelli Center for Social Entrepreneurship. Katia is also an associate professor of dance and a core faculty member of the College of the Environment, as well as the Russian, East European, and Eurasian Studies programs.
Thank you, Fiona. I'm Katia Colcio. The Albritton Center is the hub of community engagement at Wesleyan University. This moment and Albritton's Engage 2020 series creates a unique opportunity for civic participation in respect to the election and our political sphere. Our E2020 initiative has supported students engaged in voter registration efforts, issues advocacy, local and national campaigns. In fact, we will post 2 codes at the end of our event that contain voter registration form and absentee ballots. Please do vote. But we keep in mind that political change begins with people, with bodies moving, and with youth. Real change is felt in people's lives. Both Albritton and the Wesleyan Dance Department are committed to working with people, the work of people, the power of movement. We are extremely proud to be co-hosting this event. This opportunity to work with the Center for the Arts, colleague Iddi Saaka, our very amazing alum and dance activist Kiara Ben, to share the very important work of the Era and open the circle with you.
Thank you very much, Katia. We have a really wonderful panel this evening with board members of Open the Circle, as well as recent Wesleyan alumna, Kiara Ben. But before we start, we want to acknowledge that at Wesleyan's Center for the Arts and Dance Department, we believe that one of the roles of the arts is to make the invisibilized visible. We also believe that it is not the responsibility of those who have been made invisible to remind us that they are still here. Therefore, as committed allies, we wish to acknowledge the respective grounds on which our institution and our visiting artists are present tonight. Wesleyan is located on the traditional lands of the Wangang, and in Chicago, our guests are joining us from traditional lands of the Ojibwe, Odawa, and the Potawatomi. We honor their land, water, and ancestors past, present, and future, and we recognize their continued existence and contributions to our society. We also recognize and acknowledge those who did not come to this land by choice. All who come here are welcome in this space today.
The panel tonight is the final event in a series of virtual engagements this fall with the Era Footwork Crew. And next fall, we are hosting the New England premiere of the Era's new show, In the Works. So please stay tuned for more information on those dates as they become available. So a few notes before we start the evening. You may see or hear some distortion, which is normal for streaming, and we really appreciate your patience. And we encourage you to use the chat feature throughout the panel. And questions will be answered during the Q&A portion at the end. And I think with that, we're going to get the evening started. Thanks, everyone.
It's a 3-2. Y'all ready? Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so Open the Circle is a new Chicago-based nonprofit. We use dance, music, and filmmaking to bring resources into poor communities. Our initial focus is on the dance and music known as Chicago Footwork. That's me, Manny, and I work with Open the Circle as a dance instructor and filmmaker. Last summer, my dance group, the Era Footwork Crew, teamed up with Open the Circle. Together, we launched the Footwork Summer Camp for the youth on the south side of Chicago. One day of our camp focused on teaching dance combinations. Another day focused on teaching DJing and music production. We also included a day of instruction focused around filmmaking and dance.
My name is Lou. I like that I can feel welcome in the studio and I have fun with all my friends and stuff.
Open the Circle also uses music and dance to establish partnerships with civic institutions like the Chicago Park District and Summer Dance. We work closely with Chicago dance organizations like Tish's group Empire and Shakuna's group Bringing Out Talent. This past summer, we also hosted a footwork takeover of the MCA, and we announced Open the Circle through a performance at Lynx Hall. With support from grants and donations, Open the Circle has raised over $100,000 in the first year of operation. These contributions make an immediate and long-lasting impact on Chicago's youth. In the face of inequality, violence, and racism, footwork builds community and saves lives. Visit otcprojects.org to learn more and to donate. Thanks.
To me, footwork can save lives. Kept a lot of people from gang banging, selling drugs.
It saves lives because you're being a part of something, developing a passion for it when you're with your peers.
Footwork can, keep people off doing other things that are like bad.
Instead of being in the streets and being in gangs, everybody they can come together and dance.
through family, footwork creates a safe haven. And even within Chicago, we understand the family value.
Footwork, it saves lives. So you're not out here just doing whatever.
I'm out. Bye.
I'm out. That was good. He gone.
It is my honor to introduce our panelists for tonight's event. I will now read their short bios. So we have Jamel Lightbulb Oliver.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Jamal is a dancer and activist at the forefront of footwork culture in Chicago. Known for the intricacy and speed of his moves, Lightbulb has performed with leading artists like Chance the Rapper, Jamila Woods, and DJ Rashad. Since 2009, he has traveled to international stages from New York PS1 to the Barbican in London. In 2014, he co-founded Era. He has received awards and grants for his work, including recognition as a Dance of the Year in Dance Magazine, a major arts grant from Chicago Dance Makers Forum. In 2018, New England Foundation for the Arts awarded Oliver and the Era a major national dance grant for their show In the Works. The Era has been described as a national treasure by artist Thista Gates. Lightbulb co-directs the nonprofit Open the Circle in Chicago. The next panelist is Shakuna Stewart.
Well, hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Shakuna is the president of Bringing Out Talent Dance Company in Chicago. She's a fourth-generation dance coach, and every summer her group of kids marches and parades across the city. Shakuna works with over 100 kids every summer of all ages, serving dancers and saving lives through dance on the south side of Chicago. Her group teaches self-confidence through dance, especially for young women and girls. Shakuna's group has been awarded first place at the historic Bad Bellington Day Parade, and they've been featured on television several times over. Shakuna partners with Open the Circle to host public dance downs and a footwork summer camp. Our next panelist is Wills Glasspiegel.
Hey everybody, nice to be with you.
Wills is an artist and scholar who has worked for over a decade as a community filmmaker with dancers and DJs in the Chicago footwork world. Currently a teaching assistant and PhD student in African American Studies at Yale, his short films have shown in diverse settings globally, from schools and dance studios to museums and galleries. He has produced public radio segments for All Things Considered and Morning Edition, and was a co-recipient of a Peabody Award in 2014 for his contributions to the public radio program Afropop Worldwide. Wills works as a creative director and filmmaker with the Era Footwork Crew. He co-directs the nonprofit The Circle, Open the Circle, alongside Jamal Oliver in Chicago. And we also have Kiara Ben.
Hi, everyone. Excited to be back at Wesleyan and excited to have a conversation with you all.
Kiara graduated from Wesleyan last year as a dance major, and finished her year with an incredible senior capstone project that examined how movement can bring autonomy to Black bodies in documenting the past and their present selves. She is now working as an executive assistant at For Freedoms, an artist-led organization that models and increases creative civic engagement and discourse and direct action. As the moderator of tonight's panel, I will direct each question to one of the panelists, and after their response, any of the panelists who wants to add anything is free to do so, and then we will move on. At some point in the discussion, we will also take some of the questions from the audience, which will be posted in the chat. So please send us your questions through the chat. I would like to start the conversation by directing my first question to Wills. Can you talk about how OTC was started and how it functions in conjunction with the Era and the other arts organizations in Chicago? What was the driving impulse behind the creation of OTC?
So we've been running OTC for about 3 years now, and there's a lot that goes into it. So there's a lot of different forces and partners and reasons for the work. So I'll try to simplify it a little bit, and maybe we can continue to open it up, across the hour. But I think one really important point that we started with was thinking about how can we support and empower and resource things that are already working in the communities where we wanted to work. So it wasn't like an organization that wanted to come in from the outside with a, some idea that was rooted elsewhere. And we really saw footwork and dance in general as something that was providing really something important to a lot of youth across generations, especially on the south and west sides of Chicago, and especially in areas that are some of the most divested neighborhoods in our city. So we saw something that was already working, and we're like, how can we, amplify and support this? My own story with footwork is that I got involved with footwork as a journalist for National Public Radio, doing a story about the music. Footwork's both a music and a dance. And it was the music that really attracted me and enthralled me initially, from artists like R.P. Boo or DJ Rashad, Traxman, Jana Rush. These are some of the names that you can learn about if you do some digging, or you can always reach out to us. But the music pulled me in, and then I was working, as I said, as a journalist, but also a documentary filmmaker. And I just kind of really fell in love with working with dancers. And Lightbulb was the first dancer that I really established a partnership with. And I found that I just wanted to keep doing that. I think that dancers and filmmakers really can find a lot of avenues for partnership and symbiosis. And as we continue to work together and make short films and do projects, we realized, okay, we could start to write some grants together to bring resources into this work. And the first grant that Lightbulb won was from Chicago Dance Makers Forum. And that was, I think at the time, like a $15,000 grant, which is a lot of money. And, a major recognition for footwork, a dance that hadn't been placed in these types of spheres before. And Lightbulb really, he not only led it for himself, but then he started to distribute the resources to his groups. And I think that spirit that Lightbulb has had of being the one dancer that everybody wanted to work with, but also not wanting to be like a soloist and wanting to kind of share opportunities with a larger community of dancers, that spirit, I think, it really inspired me. And we just kind of kept building and coming up with projects to do. And, we established partnerships with different civic institutions like the Astor Gates' organization, the Rebuild Foundation, and the City of Chicago, Summer Dance, a lot of different organizations across the city. We've been able to partner successfully with them. But I think what's even cooler is we've also really focused on building relationships with people like Shakuna and Black youth dance groups across the city. So footwork, for those that don't know, was a dance that was born to a large degree within these Black youth groups in Chicago starting in the late 80s and the 90s. And what Lightbulb and I focused on with Open the Circle was, okay, here's this dance that started in this context, but now it's gone very far away. It's gone all the way around the world. It's turned into a battle culture. It's really spawned a lot of exciting things. But how can we bring this back to the place where it came from, to ensure its longevity and to ensure that it's serving those who are in the communities where it's created?
Okay. Now, I want to ask my second question, and this one goes to Shakuna. Can you please talk a bit about the history of footwork and the role it plays in young girls and women's lives?
Okay, well, coming from what I do, as this being a tradition, I actually followed a dream that my family started. So it's like I seen it from the beginning. I'm 43 years old. I've been seeing footwork for a long time. And then when I realized I can get all these group of guys together in a positive way, and it kept them off the street. It kept them from, just doing all type of other things that they could have been doing. It just became like, wow, So, it's just a big part of the culture here in Chicago. It's just a big part of, a way to express yourself. It just means a lot of different things here,
I think a big part of, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but a big part of why I'm so inspired and how I kind of see my dance history in both of you is you guys are kind of these mentors and the people in the community. And I know that like also footwork is just like so core to Chicago. Like you don't go anywhere else. Like if you're learning footwork, you go to Chicago and that's it. And you know, like the history is like very like it's very masculine. There's like a lot of like male. It's very male dominated. And I just kind of wanted to know what is it like to be like this like well-known mentor. Like your entire dance history and your ancestral and family history is tied into footwork. What is it like to kind of like be that person and inspire like other young women to kind of come into the scene that didn't always or kind of included them, but they came in and out of it, or they existed in like a very specific way?
Yeah. Actually, one day I wish we can, you know, take this meeting inside. You will actually see the art of
I know,
footwork
I
like
want to
that.
come.
You know, if it was allowed, you know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, they here
Maybe
now,
it's
that's
time
what
we
we're
can
actually
experiment,
to now.
Shkunna,
So,
and
you
you
know, you just have to see it and feel it. You know,
Yeah.
just have to see it and feel it. It
No,
is really male dominated, I will say that. So it's really nice to see the young girls out here doing the footwork and the, you know, the young kids out here doing the footwork, you know, other than guys. So it's really like intriguing to see like the young kids doing that, you know, and they can hang with them. So, I mean, you know, it's just the art.
So yeah, so this is very interesting. I remember our last conversation that we had, Shakuna. You know, looking at some of the materials you guys, you know, have done so far. You talk about the fact that, you know, your company is kind of handed down from generation to generation. Your great grandma started and then handed it over to your grandma and then to your ma and then now to you. And so I'm kind of wondering how does it feel to have such a kind of I think it's a big responsibility to be able to, you know, hold on to something like this, and how do you see kind of also passing it on to the next generation?
I feel like I have to be careful with that because it's a legacy. It have to be passed on in the right way, you know, by this being such a long, you know, term thing. You want somebody that's going to be dedicated to, you know, what's going on. You know, it's really a sensitive situation because right now, if I was to walk away, boom, the legacy is gone. So I really have to keep working and building until I have that right person in place. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, I know I'm not going to be able to do this forever. So you do want the right person in position. I will say that.
Just to kind of like poke you a little bit, who are you training to be in that position?
My
Who's the
niece.
next person? Okay.
I actually have 2 nieces on the team. So either one, only the strong survive.
Great. Thank you so
All
much.
I can say with this dance world here, you know.
Great. Okay, so I would like to ask Lightbulb the next question. So can you talk about OTC's work that addresses racial justice and the act of footwork as a political statement? Are you currently engaged in any activist work surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement and or the upcoming election?
As far as the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, we've been able to create some content that's been focused essentially around the racial injustice that we've been experiencing here in Chicago, from you know, more or less, but you know, just speaks to just from a dancer's perspective, you know, just saying our piece because people don't usually hear from dancers what we have to say. So we created a piece called The Testament, and it just spoke to you know, just what dancers go through, you know, being cast away to the side of viewed as just bodies, you know, and you know, just you know, speaking these, you know, the victims of racial justice names, make sure their names are not forgotten throughout the film. So those are just some of the ways that we've been able to just help out during these times, as far as just from our perspective. And as far as, you know, just the impact of the, you know, the organizations, is, you know, it's been a real treat to see the impact we've been able to provide footwork to, you know, just reuniting the dance world back with the footwork world, because it was kind of a you know, a fallout over time. You know, footwork has so many phases, and one of those phases, you know, at some point they both were, you know, connected and flourishing together, you know, but at some point it just split off. So we've been able to, you know, attack that issue head on and bring more youth in, you know, a lot of women, young women at that, more than the men. Like, actually, that I can say it's way more young girls that are footworking now that are bringing it, you know, that are new to the culture than the men. which is good because you still have that same number of men that are coming into the culture, young men. So it's definitely just just a breath of fresh air to see this new generation of kids. And for us, we figured, myself, I figured the kids were pretty much in these dance groups instead of us starting our own summer camp just straight from the ground up. We was like, man, let's find out where these kids are at, and they all were in dance groups. Dance groups that I grew up, everybody that is from Chicago know about all the local groups and all the traveling groups and the major groups that are in Chicago. That's where all the kids were at, mainly all the girls, because when Footwork did split off, a lot of the events were heavily male dominated, you know what I mean? But a lot of the girls were still in dance groups and they were at the dance downs, which are local talent shows that happen in Chicago, or competitions per se for cash prizes and trophies, where you see some of the top groups in Chicago, no matter where you're from part of the city, go head to head. So it's been a real treat to see that, just spur up and be, have a hand in it. So, Shakuna definitely help a hand help coordinate a lot of the major events that don't even happen normally on the South Side, but downtown, at the Bean in Chicago or at Millennium Park. So she's very versatile in creating it. And also, Letitia Waters, who runs one of the other organization, Empire, she does an amazing job too as well. So it's definitely fun to see everything flourish. And still, I grew up in it, so it's definitely fun for me to sit back and watch it, and be a mentor to the children as well. When we talk about the politics of it, we dabble and dabble, and we try to make our efforts to really create content that's geared towards helping people, vote, talking about the prison system and how the prison is affected by voting, and how we can try to gauge, even help the prisoners that are locked away vote, because everybody votes matter. So, it's been tough, but as far as my stance, so, I plan on voting. So, I meet everybody at the polls,
Great. So I wonder if Wills, you have the same experience in terms of the work that you do, and or if how would you describe that?
You mean kind of in relation to activism and some of the movement for Black Lives? Yeah, I mean, I think footwork has been a response to many of the issues that now everyone's talking about, but footworkers and the people living in the communities where footwork comes from have been, facing a lot of the issues, and that now the rest of the world is getting more in tune with. So yeah, I mean, one way to answer that is the phrase "footwork saves lives," which has become central to some of our work at OTC. And that was a phrase that it's the name of the panel, and you saw a video that we had, but that was a phrase that came from one of the dancers in the era, Stilo Lofton. And he put it on on one t-shirt, and now it's on t-shirts across the city. It's on the front of my computer. I got a sticker. It's really become a message that has resonated far and wide. And I think that's really special because, I don't know, it points to something that footwork has always done, so it gets in tune with this positive force that's been at the heart of this tradition for so long, but it also kind of emphasizes that and maybe even increases its power to save lives. If we talk about it as that, and if the kids pick it up as that, they can then make it their own tool for positivity. And we're really just amassing this community together that's already together, but we're expanding it, and we're trying to provide resources to a lot of different people. And there's just so much work to do. It's really it's many lifetimes of work out here to do, and we just have a great team. And the phrase "teamwork make the dream work," but that's really core to everything here, and that's how we operate.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about a few things that stuck with me with how you all speak about OTC, and just how there's two parts. It's you're not just learning about the dance, but you're also learning about film, you're also learning about DJing, you're also learning about music. It's all this community coming together. It's not just one entity. And I think even that to me is activism, bringing all these people together and saying that they have to be one entity, and even just creating space for community is activism. So I think just being yourselves is fighting for Black lives. So that's really awesome to see as well.
Cool, right? Can I just hop in really quick? I just want to say, working with Open the Circle, it's just really me being from the South Side of Chicago, we don't have like finances and, things like that. Them stepping in to help, it was like Superman to us. It was just like, wow, they are really here to help us, like as far as resources and, teaching and training. It was just a blessing to even have them, to come out and be a part of what we were doing too as well. It was just, for the community. It was not even just open to my team. It was open to the community to come be a part of footwork camp and, things like that. So it was like a blessing to us right here in Chicago. This can be worldwide.
But I just want to echo that.
Right? That's dope.
Shakuna speaks so nicely about us, but like we see her in that same light. I know I do. Like, when I met Shakuna because I read about her in the Chicago Defender newspaper. I was trying to learn more about the groups, and we shared mutual friends. I just reached out, and you were like a hero to me. I was just like, this is the most important work that you could be doing in the city, and she's been doing it for so long. So it's just, I'm so happy that we got this team together, and maybe
and Wills, it was crazy how I found you. It's like we were looking for each other. Actually, I sent the photo that he had did for another dance team, which is K59. And I inboxed the president. I say, who did this wonderful photo? And he said, Wills. That's when I started researching him. So it was like at the same time we was finding each other. It was crazy.
It's awesome.
Yes. So that
Great.
was, I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you for the great work you guys continue to do. Yeah. So I would like to ask the next question to Lightbulb. OTC organizes, and supports different youth programs, like, Circle Up, BOT, Empire. Can you talk about the impact this has had on the Chicago? What does it mean for footworkers to be mentors? How does that relationship develop with the kids over time? What impact does footwork have on youth besides dance technique? What are they learning and receiving?
What I always say, it's extremely important for the youth to see, just different figures, per se, of artists and different people that they might want to be when they grow, when they get older. You know what I mean? So for them to see a dancer that's from where they live at, some of the same areas they came from, who they grew up watching, or who they have been around since they've been children, be successful in the career path they want to be in. It's remarkable as far as boosting their confidence and what they can achieve in other areas of life. Because confidence is a real big thing, man. A lot of kids, man, they just don't have it sometimes, and they need to see other people succeed and fail, to know what it's like on both sides and have both perspectives, and not just have that, be a basketball player, be a rapper, or be this or be that. You got that other option where you can be this too, and it's success over here too as well. Other options and different hats you can wear inside of this one role. You know what I mean? You can be the LeBron James of dancing. You can do that. You can be that Swiss Army knife per se. And be versatile in all different sorts of art forms. And that's what we just inspire the kids to do. So for me, that's been great to see. I walk up the streets all day and the kids say, "What's up, Lightbulb?" So for me, that's dope. You know what I mean? Especially because I'm still teaching them. Just the perspective of being a footworker. It's more than just dancing and music. It's a lifestyle. It's a community that we all share. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for them to see us. It's important for them to see us way out beyond reaching for the stars, but it's also good for them to see us at home too. So for us, especially for me, it's been great that I've been able to work through Chicago to other places around the world. And that's been just my life's work, being able to just reach everywhere and still be able to bring it home, where it rightfully, deserves and should be held to the highest standard. You know what I mean? So these are just all life skills that I've learned over time, just going through the struggles, you know what I'm saying, getting into fights, learn how to deal with these type of situations when you're in the streets, because, you're in the streets. How do you move when you're in these streets, when you're doing things, you know what I'm saying? It's a sport. It teach you how to carry yourself. It teach you how to be good, a good person to people. It also teach you how to be a good competitor. You all, striving for excellence, and that's what we all aspire to do. We all have somebody that we look up to. We all look up to Serena Williams, the Venus Williams, the Michael Jordans of the world. So it's good to have, that's what dance is for people. That's what it is for me. It's a sport, and I strive to be excellent at it every step of the way. Anybody tell you when they see me dance, it's always a performance. No matter if it's a battle or it's a show, I got to give you everything. And I think that's what kids need to see. They need to see you being excellent so that they can learn how to be excellent within themselves. So, you know, that's what being a mentor is. And like, I got a relationship with all the kids that I teach just about, you know what I mean? Like from the small ones all the way up to the older ones. You know, I know their parents, a lot of them too. So that's fun to see too. Like I got, you know, Shkunna. I know Shkunna back when she was banging to Terra. You know what I mean? So I don't know Shkunna for a long time. I know Tish as I've been, you know, 15. So it's amazing, you know, to still be working around these same people and to see their kids grow up. Man, they kids cold too. That's what's crazy to me. Like they kid, I watched their kids to walk around. Tish kids to walk around with Pampers and basketballs, and they didn't use talk, and they just, you know, they can footwork now. So for me, you know, that's dope to me. And that's gonna always be the pride of you know, being a part of Open the Circle, you know, providing opportunities and being able to see, you know, footwork strive. You know, it's best to, you know, to work his way up to higher echelons with these other coaches, you know, not even a competition, but just the respect and appreciation and opportunity, you know, just to be a contract, not be classified as a subgenre. That's they wanted to be a subgenre. No, we're a full culture and we've been around for years and we're going to continue to be. And that's just, you know, that's just how I feel about it.
Great. So I think we're getting closer to the taking questions from the audience. So I will once again encourage the audience to send your questions to us through the chat. Yeah. So I also know that you guys are working on a new project in the works that is supposed to come to Wesleyan, you know, I think next year. Can you tell us a bit about it? What is in the works about? What is it about? And you know, what should we expect? Maybe Wills could take that.
Lightbulb, why don't you start off? That's okay. You got a Lightbulb? Or you want to start off on describing in the works?
You know, we look at it as like in the works as like a dance album. You know what I mean? Like that's how we perceive it. Well, that's how I perceive it. And we take it as such. So, you know, it's a stage show culmination of stories and perspective of, you know, personal stories between us all, but also just what it's like to grow up and go, and, you know, be a footworker. And what some of those experiences are, you know, being a woman inside of footwork. What it was like for me to go overseas for the first time and that whole story. And you see choreography that reflects it. You see the pain, you see the struggle, the art behind it, and what people view or think a footwork show is completely thrown out the window when you see this show. So I encourage people to, you know, whenever COVID clears up, or, you know, if we decide to do a virtual, wink, you know, just be ready for, you know, an amazing show. You know, a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people have, you know, had their fair share of words about it. Positive, you know, so I just encourage people to just, you know, be ready for an amazing show and just to see and be integrated into footwork just by watching it, you know.
Yeah, just a few more details. So it's going to be opening at Wesleyan in the fall of 2021. And then I think we're also bringing the show to the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis also in the fall of 2021. So look out for those dates, and we'll hopefully be adding more. Yeah, the show's amazing. I think Lightbulb covered it, but I would say also there's I've helped out with some video work that we all now kind of everyone's a filmmaker basically in the crew. And so we've made these kind of installation type videos that play around the stage. And that's been really special because we've been able to dig into the archive of footage that we've been collecting for about 10 years now. So there's, you know, footage of Lightbulb in Europe from 10 years ago. There's a bunch of random great stuff in there. And there's also a lot of poetry. So one thing that Lightbulb came up with that I thought was brilliant was he described it as footworking with words. So how do you use footwork to tell your story, whether it's rapping, poetry, or monologue? So we're exploring so many different mediums at the same time. And I think that's one of the things that's so special about dance is that once you start to center dance, all the other art forms kind of can play their part very gracefully.
I had like a quick question about that too. I was going to ask it a little bit earlier, and we had a conversation about this, but I was just wondering how, when you share footwork with people who are outside of your community, like how do you keep what you need for yourself? And that's like hard with dance, right? It's always going to be evolving, adapting. Like footwork has its history, how it exists in Chicago, how it doesn't. So how do you share without like sharing too much? I don't know or do you like to share footwork? Do you want to keep it precious? In Black dance, for me, it's always something that I think about when I'm like, especially in footwork feels like a social dance. It feels like something that you share with community, but at the same time, it is very tied to identity.
I mean, let me see, hold on. Look at it like this. I look at it, I feel like it comes down to the way you teach. And it's a certain that you teach. Either you can teach the foundational method, which you create a pathway for people to create their own style, meaning you show people the core bases of footwork, which are the Erkenzer skates, dribbles, ghosts, and you show them how to put these moves into combinations. But that's where you stop, because anything beyond that, you're giving away your style or the way that you move. And when you're teaching, you want to allow people the space to create their own style. And that's why we choose that way of teaching, accompanied by the history, accompanied by more than one instructor as well. Because when we have more than one instructor, you get more than one perspective. And we also, with the history attached, you learn how to integrate yourself inside of the community without taking from it, without wanting to teach it yourself, without wanting to profit from it, knowing that you're not from the community or the rightful person to teach, or that, or not having the correct knowledge. That's how, to me, that's how you avoid these type of situations. You become a healthy member of the community, and you add to the community instead of taking from it. And I feel like that's what we preach. I wish I could find a stronger word, but we preach that everywhere we go. So no matter where we've taught it, whether it's Peru, whether I've been in Japan, anywhere you've been, and you'll see it whenever you see more of our documentation that comes out later in the future, that we've always been strong about people creating their own opportunities, giving you the foundational keys to make your own pathway, not trying to direct you, because I just feel like that's just, you create coats that way. It'd be the air all over the world. Now, I'm not saying that we don't want the air all over the world. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we want variety, which adds to the form. You know what I mean? We don't want a bunch of copies around the world, because what's the fun? Where's the fun in that? Who am I going to battle? That's the way I look at it.
Great. Thank you so much. So at this stage, we will, my next question will go to Shakuna, but before that, let's watch a video that relates to the question.
Bringing out top, 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 bringing out top. B-O-T, 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 B-O-T.
Who you with? Who you with?
B-O-T, B-O-T.
Who you with? Who you with?
B-O-T, B-O-T.
Who you with? Who you with?
B-O-T,
Who you with? 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 B.O.T. B.O.T. 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 B.O.T.
Great. So my question is to Shakuna. What is a dance down?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
Yeah, what is a dance down?
A dance down is a place where a lot of teams come together and dance in peace. It's like a competition. Just a competition, basically. That's what a dance down is.
Shakuna, do you want to say a little bit about what that event was that we just saw, your Spring Bling event? Maybe?
Okay, that was the 7th annual Spring Bling. Actually, this would have been our 10th annual this year, but due to COVID, it was canceled. So, it's just a show. It's like actually one of the biggest dance shows here in Chicago, as far as on the South Side and, the West Side teams and things like that. Actually, teams from different cities travel here just for that event. It takes a lot to organize. I will say that. And to make that show roll and be on point. It's a lot. I think it was at like maybe 36 teams. So that's a lot of teams that will come out from New York. I had a team from Miami, Philadelphia. They just come from all over for that one particular event every year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great. I think at this point we can take some of the audience's questions. So let me see. So we have the first question. Can you please talk more about how the variations of body size and age impact how dance builds community among Black folk? So
let me see. I want to say, most I want to say footwork culture was created by kids. Kids trying to find something to do, per se. In the face of poverty, that's usually what happens in most communities of color. We have to find ways to express ourselves non-violently. And footwork is probably the most aggressive, non-violent sport dance you'll see, to say the least. So I can say that's one of the ways that does it, but it definitely could be more. I'll have to, think about it a little bit more about that per se. But I don't think body size has anything to do with it per se. I think people of all sizes, practice this dance. Especially my guy P-Top. He's, if you see P-Top, you'd be like, I can't believe he can even move that fast. So, I think, being P-Top size actually adds to what you do. So, it's actually a perk to add to what you do. You know what I mean? So, it could be, it's a number of things, but I think, kids are usually the product of these, communities that we build, for the Dump Street and evolves. I know our community, the oldest person in our community, they're in their 40s, I want to say. So, fairly young.
But Lightbulb, can you speak about like the cross-generational aspect? You talk like, you know how you told me like people who used to get to a certain age, they would throw away footwork, but how you kind of like built these cross-generational bridges?
Yeah, for footwork, mainly, especially back in the day, you know what I'm saying, up to now, like I'm 30, so people footworking at 30 wasn't even a thing. You know what I mean? Like you got a job, life hits you, you know what I'm saying? You forgot how to do it. You become that person that's at every party talking about, I used to do it back in the day, boy, I used to be cold, you know what I'm saying? Boy, you know what I'm saying? But I think we pushed the limit on what you could possibly do actually pursuing a career in this form. We some of the very few that, some of the first, very few that did do it. You got groups like Footwork Mentors before us and other people that, made different careers for themselves. But, being able to do that just, it just broke the barriers. But actually traveling overseas and expanding the form too as well. I had somebody who was 60 who was like 67 in my class. And she did it just for the youth, just for the exercise and, just so she could stay mobile. So that right there, and me bringing that story back with me helped me spread the vibes of like, I feel like helped me spread the vibes of like, ain't no age limit to this thing. You can do this thing for as long as you want to do it, as long as your body is able to do it. And, as far as generations go, being able to see, for me, being able to see a new generation of Terror Squad, I know times have changed. I know times are moving and it's in a good place because it's a whole new, I was the youngest generation of Terror Squad at one point. You know what I mean? So for me to see a whole new wave of that and to be a part of it is like, all right, that's that's what it's all about. And that's what I feel like is most, impactful and, about how generations collaborate and, unify one another.
Great. So yes, a question following up on that. Obviously you work through different, with different generations, and I'm kind of wondering, do you kind of what are some of the challenges that that comes with trying to work with different generations? Have you been able to address them?
Yeah, working with generations, older generations, a lot of them just want they just do. They just want to be like, man, I was cold back in the day. I'm a legend. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. They don't even know what even comes with being a legend. They just know that I'm a legend and I should get whatever I'm supposed to get just because I'm a legend. So it's been tough to get the youngest generation. Like, I think it's like 2 generations after me to respect the old ways and why it's important to appreciate the people that did it before you. So that's like that's been the toughest thing, but I feel like it's been fairly successful over these past 3 years because we the younger OGs to people now. Like, so people look at us and be like, we the bridge because we was able to galvanize the young youth and be able to have our summer camp that allowed us to bring in the forefathers and ancestors of the culture that taught us to teach them and have conversations with them so they can see the connection and where it all comes from. So I feel like that's just been like a real treat. Like we didn't even have that. Like we had like if you was able to find legends and work with them back, like when I was coming up, even still to this day, like it's kind of you got to really find them. Like it's tough, and like they was hard on you. Like you couldn't just come learn. You had to go through all kind of like hazing, kind of in a way. Like you couldn't like it's like some secret ancient boot like dojo type stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to really be with it, and you had to know people. You couldn't just find people. You had to really know people. You feel me? So I was lucky enough to be around the right crowd of people. And but I'm also lucky enough to have this platform to be able to share those things now because it's so much more than just keeping them to myself and all the ancient secrets. Just, I've been able to spread them and like, the people in my group been able to spread what they know. And it's been fun to see the kids go their own way. Even if we don't agree with where they go, you know what I mean? Because it's still competitive. You feel me? So they can go to whatever group they want to go to outside of us. And because all of us are still a part of our main group. So I'm still a part of Terror Squad, and the other, P-Top is still a part of Goon Squad. So we don't control where the kids go, but it's interesting to see where they go, and it's still fun to compete and like you know what I'm saying, and still be happy to see the kids go to where they go. So it's all just like a fun community, competitive, family oriented kind of vibe that go in the community, so it's fun. It's I wish I could share the feeling that I feel when I think about this stuff, but it's good. It's good though.
Great. Thank you very much. So let's take the question from the audience. So this one goes to Shakuna. So can you talk about some of the different opportunities your students have experienced with support and collaboration with OTC?
Oh, I sure can. Actually, my team, a lot of the kids, they, never been down to Millennium Park. They never been down to Navy Pier. It's been a lot of perks working with OTC. It helps us, get the kids out of the actual community that they're in to see different parts of the city. So it's just a lot that we have done with them. Multiple venues, even like park districts. Some kids, they just don't get out the house. Just wherever we can take them to, it's an asset.
We've also been really lucky to do a lot of different TV spots with Shakuna and the kids, and that's always really fun.
Oh yeah, we did Fox News. That was interesting. We'd never been on the news at that point before, and then it's like,
didn't we do Windy City Live on ABC too at some point?
Yeah, but we done a lot together, and it was just actually good to, like I say, get the kids out of the actual communities. Hanging off the corners, to take them downtown and experience new things. So I found that really, dope to do.
Great, thank you. So the next question says, what does Open the Circle mean? Why that name?
Litebulb.
Open the circle. Okay, in footwork, when you're in a party, right? This is the best way I can break it down for you. When you're in a party and it's too crowded and you're trying to watch battles, it's like too many people around. It's like hot, people bumping. So like when people in footwork happen in like these small circles, so like if it's like a large gymnasium floor covered with people, if you was to hover above the people, you can see these small circles all throughout the party, different dances or different battles happening from different groups going on in the party. But sometimes it gets too crowded and you can't see. So what'll happen is the two people will grab each other's arms and like swing each other around. I wish I could do it. You could like swing each other around in a circle like this, and then people eventually will like back up and like you can see what's going on in the circle now. So like we call it, like, it's an actual track to it called Open Up the Circle, and like it'd be like open up the circle, and like I think DJ Rashad made it and DJ Spin collaborated on it. And that's pretty much what we came up with, the whole meaning of like the name behind it and like the actual like the visual of it, because it just we're trying to open up the circle to everybody and provide resources to everybody that's really never had them or people that deserve them, and the best way we can, with all what we're doing. So I feel like it was dope.
Great, thank you. I think the next question says, when working towards the inclusion of all Black bodies, what strides have been made to engage folks with physical disabilities in footwork? Do conversations, what do conversations around accessibility look like?
I can speak to that a little bit, and you all can follow up. I think there's certainly a lot more that we can do in this front, but there's been a lot of cool stuff that's happened. So footwork has been programmed alongside dancing by disabled dancers here in Chicago, and that's been really cool to see. There was a guy who was in a wheelchair, forgive me, I don't know his name, but he had a whole performance, and to place that right next to footwork was really powerful. At some of our events, we've had blind people enter the circle, and my uncle who's in a wheelchair, he used to come out to our shows. So even when we have events, we try to make accommodations for people in all kinds of ways that we can. So yeah, we the circle is open to people of all abilities, certainly ones that we put together.
I hop right in. Actually, I was at an OTC event, myself an OTC event, and I met this young lady named Kathy, and she's actually like on crutches, and her feet is maybe like turned thin. So she came to the event because she synced it on Facebook, and she just wanted to say that she came to watch because it was so much inspiration, like with the feet moving and stuff like that. And right now to this day, she still contacts me, and she just, check on the events and see what's going on. So it's a lot of people with disabilities that are looking. I have seen people in wheelchairs, like trying to move their arms with it was just, it's a lot that I have seen personally, with people with disabilities. So.
Great. Thank you. So the next question says, can you talk about how OTC was created in part to address the significant need for resources for communities in Chicago, wanting to expand economics / values of footwork?
Hit you, Will.
You want me to start? Are you gonna?
I'll jump in right after you.
Okay, I'll start. Let's see. The commodification and capitalism have not a great history when it comes to Black life in America. And that's a generalizing statement. But there's the level of inequality that exists in this country, and especially in this city, is genocidal. It's awful, and it's a thing that we're always experiencing, and me less so, markedly less so as a white North Sider. But it's something that really architects our whole city. And so, the economics question and the redistribution of resources, I think, is fundamental to what OTC has been. At least it's one thing that's driven me as someone who came from a place that's more resourced. I just, always felt a responsibility to try to open the circle, essentially. And we also found, I think, that the way the dance has been valued didn't always feel appropriate. And that was a question of resources too. So I'll let Lightbulb speak to that, but I know he doesn't, that he's been fighting a long time to really change the perception of dance, and especially to elevate dance from something that's in the background or something that's just treated as a disposable body into its rightful place as a leadership and art form.
Trying to really get people to understand what economics does for footwork in general. I mean, we can speak to just the dance groups in general. Like, they have to prepare for a political parade every year, and they have to pour resources, like the very last of the resources. They have to tag, damn near panhandle in the street sometimes just to get uniforms, when we have a city that's funding all sorts of things that are not conducive to life. So it's amazing. For me, it's like trying to find issues that exist within footwork and look at them as a microcosm of what happens in actual world and attack them head on. So we dealt with women. We dealt with trying to figure out, ways to keep the culture alive and going. And I think with doing that, it helped the city value footwork. It helped the city value what resources mean to the community. And being able to reach them is a key. Using my name to be able to talk to the commissioner to get them to come see a dance down, like, that's a resource, believe it or not. Small things translate to big things. I feel like, no matter how big or how small they may seem to somebody else. So connecting people are also a part of it as well. I was just like, that's key too, because there's words about who you know a lot of the time. And we're lucky, fortunate enough to be able to work in these different artist fields, from music to dance to art, to know the different people like the athletes, to a chance to rap and to be able to communicate and get us to be able to bring footwork to their kids, the social works. Some of their kids are just now experiencing footwork for the first time. They're on the whole other part of Chicago. So I feel like, any way we can to bring it, making people aware of it, because Chicago is humongous. The world is so big, so just getting people to just even pay attention, with the attention span being like this, is just a key for us as well. So every Friday we do a Footwork Friday. We talk about the different dances in the community, whether they're big or small, no matter what. That's a resource to people. Being able to be seen, providing visibility, like you say, Iddi, providing visibility to the invisible. I feel like all of those things are can be attributed to wanting to expand the economics and value of footwork.
I also like, I'm going to toot your guys' horn for you, because I know you also were talking about how you were able to compensate all of the teams in your competition. Oh, yeah. And I think like that's like a way of, spreading resources inside of your community, because that also speaks to like a lot of culture is created by Black bodies, and a lot of dance and a lot of movement, and that's not always compensated. So the fact that you were able to kind of do this in like a competition format, I think that is doing the work of like, spreading resources within your own community. So that to me was amazing to hear that was able to be done.
Yes, I can honestly say, by me being a part of that actually helped like a lot of the CEOs with their studios during the times that the dance downs do happen. It's like in the midst of summer. All our resources are going into, getting the kids prepared for a huge parade. So the resources that they did help the teams with, it actually helped our studios and helped us keep our doors open. It was a lot of things that we was able to do that we probably wouldn't been able to do, without the help of OTC.
I mean, being able to provide the, dance, compensate dance teams performing at dance night is unheard of. Dance, you come to dance down, you usually compete, and if you lose, you lose. That's just competition. That's just how the competition is in Chicago. So to be able to try to, like, I wouldn't say eliminate the competitive aspect of it, but just to have everyone feel like they contributed and was compensated for their time for coming out, like, that's fun. That make it worthwhile. You know what I mean? Because that's just not a thing. Like, you come to dance down, you compete. You better hope you win. You better hope you place, because it's stiff.
Yep, that's the truth.
Great. Thank you so much. I think we have one last question. And it says, what separates a good footworker from a great footworker?
Oh man, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. You can simply tell by organization, neatness, because everybody got their opinion about who they like and who they don't like. You know what I'm saying? Especially us footworkers. It's like we got our own community of who we like and who we don't like, what we think is great and what we don't like. But just like in basketball, man, it's the pantheons, and once you understand what the pantheons are and how they did in their format, you just follow that. If you don't see nobody coming close to that, you can pretty much tell. Everybody isn't afforded the opportunity to know these people or to see how it looks or how it goes. You know what I mean? But like I say, you can just tell, honestly, from somebody who knows what they're doing, from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. It's fairly simple. So I suggest people practice as much as possible, man. This is what I will say. That there's a lot of confusion about what's good and what's not with footwork, because people don't understand the actual form and what it is. So I can attribute that somewhat to, the expansion of footwork and, the awareness people have for it. But I say as time moves on, as footwork becomes bigger, as it always has, as footwork moves to this, I feel like this is one of footwork's greatest phases, where it's expanding on an international and national level. We got the youth back in Chicago. The youth in Chicago are flourishing. So I feel like with that'll help people to distinguish what's great footwork and what's not. We got people, kids in Chicago are just not getting into footwork. They don't know what's great footwork and what's not good footwork. And they're from Chicago and they're kids. So it's like, it's in the eye of the beholder, but it's also a little bit like once you get some knowledge about it, that'll help too. And also you got to see the right people doing it. That also will help determine it too. But like I said, that's choice of opinion. So, it can go both ways.
I mean, we can show the audience if y'all like.
Are they in there practicing right now, Shkunna?
What you say, Wills?
Are they in there practicing right now?
Yeah, I can.
Take us.
If I can just leave for like 1 second and I can have them turn the music on right away.
Please take us in there. Please.
Audience, hold on. Let me set this up.
Oh my God. This turned out so great.
Okay. You can see what it's all about.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wow, they probably did not even know that like a whole audience was gonna be watching them tonight.
Did we lose her? This is experimental.
Okay, here she is.
Okay, we're preparing right now. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
They can do a whole little choreography.
Shakuna, you're on mute, so we cannot hear you.
Shakuna, you're on mute. Okay, I'll just watch, to be honest.
Shakuna. Great.
Thank you so much for showing us that.
Thank you very much, Shakuna. So I know we could have continued for
I'm back. Did you guys enjoy that or what?
We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
And those are new dancers. They're learning. Training.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah. And I was saying we could have continued this conversation for a few more years. I mean, hours. But this is where we have to end the conversation tonight. If you're moved by what has been shared here tonight and would like to continue the conversation, I encourage you to reach out to the artists through their website, otcprojects.org. On behalf of the Center for the Arts, the Al Britton Center for Public Life, and the Dance Department at Wesleyan, thank you for joining us tonight. Remember to continue to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community by wearing a mask and practicing safe social distancing.
Also consider donating to OTC too. I have to
Yes.
put that out there. We do accept donations through our website.
Great, yes. And last but not the least, please make sure you vote in the upcoming election if you are eligible. Thank you very much and good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all.
Peace.